Is a 5 a.m. morning routine boosting or killing your productivity? I'm excited to talk about this with you guys today because I'm in the midst of changing camps on this question. I have long been an advocate for an early morning routine. And just recently, last month, it happened to be Friday the 13th, I got into 2 small car accidents. And the reason I think that happened was because of my complete exhaustion. So this also is a timely conversation because as I film this, we are about to go back into daylight savings time and we're going to lose an hour this weekend. So I'm excited to get into exploring the benefits and the drawbacks of the 5 a.m. morning routine. So let's get started. Let's start off by looking at the science behind an early morning or 5 a.m. morning routine. And I'll have to put a caveat here. All of the science that's behind this really backs up an early morning routine, not specifically a 5 a.m. routine. To start this off, I want to read you just something from the Sleep Foundation about circadian rhythms, because circadian rhythms are 24-hour cycles that are part of our body's internal clock, running in the background to carry out essential functions and processes. And one of the most important and well-known circadian rhythms is the sleep-wake cycle. So that is driving a lot of when we want to wake up and when we need to go to bed. As a matter of fact, many of you know that I have a daughter with both an ADHD and a Tourette's diagnosis, and finding medications that work for her is very much a balancing act because the Tourette's medications make her sleepy and the ADHD medications make her Tourette's worse. So as you can see, it's like this seesaw. One of the things we started trying because of all of the research I've been doing about sleep was natural methods to help her wake up. And one of those has to do with sun exposure and how that sets off a cascade of events inside your body to help trigger this sleep-wake cycle. So early in the morning, we would give her breakfast outside, and it really did make a difference in how alert she was in her classes. Let's look more into the potential benefits of having a 5 a.m. routine. And the first is improved sleep if you stick to a regular cycle. So getting up every day at the same time, whether that be 5 a.m., 5:30, 7 o'clock, whatever it is, and going to bed, yes, even on weekends, is going to help you sleep better because your body, you're staying true to that sleep-wake cycle we just discussed. Also, there is a decrease in stress in those studied with early morning routines. And this makes sense to me. My morning routine has meditation. That's actually the first thing that I do in the morning is meditate. And that definitely helps with stress levels, just teaching myself to breathe and check in with myself. And many others that are waking up early in the morning have time to do some sort of calming activity. Another benefit is better health. If you get up early in the morning, you have more time to exercise. You have more time to prepare healthy meals. You have more time to look at your day, what you have going on in your day, and prepare yourself mentally to deal with it and to show up as the best version of yourself. Again, I want to reiterate here, the research is not behind a 5 a.m. routine. It's just getting up early enough to do all of this, to exercise, to have some sort of stress-reducing activity. Usually it is about an hour in the research that you need to check off all of those boxes. All right, so let's discuss the science behind the potential drawbacks of waking up too early. and my wake-up call with the car accident stuff, that's actually proven to be the most common cause of car accidents is sleepiness. So if you are feeling sleep deprived, creating a morning routine probably isn't the best idea. I recently read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, and he goes into great detail about all of the drawbacks of not getting enough sleep. So the car accidents, it can also potentially lead to Alzheimer's. Sleep deprivation can also affect your mood, leading to irritabilities, problems with relationships, depression, anxiety, but it can also affect your physical health, which was news to me when I read this book. This includes Alzheimer's, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, obesity, which actually makes sense because if you notice on days when you're tired, you have less willpower and you crave those bad for you foods, carb-rich, sugar-rich foods. And then finally, type 2 diabetes, which kind of leads into the obesity explanation, right? So let's talk about some tips for establishing a early morning routine. So just, weigh the pros and cons. Is it good for you? Is it not? If you decide you still want to proceed and establish a morning routine, let me give you some tips for establishing a 5 a.m. early morning routine. Okay, the first tip is to gradually shift your wake-up time. So again, as we are about to enter daylight savings time, this is something we're all told as parents is to slowly shift our kids' wake-up times, or maybe at the transitioning from summer to back to school. You move it up slowly, like by 5, 10, or 15-minute increments. Don't just jump in waking up at 7 a.m. to waking up at 5 a.m. That is going to be way too jarring. So try to make little baby steps to slowly shift your wake-up time over, say, a week or two. And step number 2 is maintaining a consistent sleep schedule. And I have to admit, this is a challenge. As I'm getting a little bit older, it has gotten easier because I am not out late so much on the weekends anymore. But sleep isn't something you can store up. So if you miss a bunch of sleep during the week, Monday through Friday, you can't all of a sudden try to gain back those 5 hours you missed by sleeping in 5 hours later on a Saturday morning. That's not how our bodies work. So we need to actually maintain that cycle of waking and going to bed about the same time on a regular basis. And next, how do you create a morning routine that works for you? I have read Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning, and they actually have an app where you can create a morning routine based on all of his research and stories that he shares in his book. I've never used it, to be honest. My advice to you is to find out what you're missing. What is going on in your life right now? So if you are anxious, maybe you need to build in, a meditation practice. If you're working on your health, you need to spend that time going to the gym or preparing healthy meals. If you have some problems going on in your life, maybe creating a journaling practice or creating a gratitude practice to give back. I think truly just connecting with yourself and figuring out what is missing or what you want to grow in your own life. And that is what you should build into your morning routine. So what are some of the benefits of a 5 a.m. routine inside the business world for entrepreneurs and creatives? Well, it's long been touted as like this secret mystery of their success from people from Ben Franklin to Richard Branson. But there is some clout behind it, in my opinion. So improved focus and concentration in those very early morning hours because there's less distractions. You're not being constantly inundated with messages because other people are sleeping. Your family's sleeping if you're working from home. Your office workers, if you go into a physical office, haven't arrived yet. So you're really able to do some deep work in an environment that is ideal for getting that work done. Also, many people are successful in business and entrepreneurship because they don't burn out. And if you wake up early, you have more time for exercise. You have more time for other self-care activities like meditation and all of the different benefits we've already discussed. And then finally, increased productivity and achievement of your goals. I mean, you just actually have more time in your day if you're getting up earlier. So because of that additional time, you're likely to be more productive, especially if you're a morning person. And there is a difference. There are some of us that are just more likely to wake up in the morning versus those that prefer to get their work done in the evening. Actually, I have a great story for you guys. And that is part of my morning routine when I'm able to get up early enough to do it is reviewing my day. And just those 5 minutes of actually looking through my schedule and making sure that I have everything that I need for my day really helps me be more effective in reaching my goals. So for example, this morning I had an interview first thing to start my day at 9 a.m. because I worked up early, I do my morning routine, I get my kids and everybody else ready, and then I come into work after everybody's off at school, which is usually about 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And this morning I had a job interview. I wasn't able to get my printer to work last night. And this morning I had the time to work and with my husband's help, fix the printer and print out the resume for the person that I was interviewing, which would have been a little bit of a disaster if I wouldn't have had that time that I gifted to myself in the morning. Okay, so let's look at some arguments against an early morning routine. So one of the reasons I wanted to record this video was because of that Friday the 13th in February where I had 2 car accidents in one day, and really I'd been struggling with my sleep for a while. I'm battling some insomnia issues, but it dawned on me like how bad it had gotten when I rear-ended my husband. Yep, I rear-ended my husband. So the potential negative effects on sleep deprivation and chronic fatigue. So if you are getting up early, but your whole day is spent in this like sleepy fog, that's not doing much for your productivity. In fact, it's making it worse. So wouldn't you be better off sleeping in that additional hour to make sure that you're making the most of the time that you do have on your job? And maybe you need to shift your start time back a little bit further to give yourself the self-care if that's a possibility for you. And of course, we need to consider the individual differences in sleep needs and preferences. And I would argue this changes over time, right? Like as babies, we need a ton of sleep. Toddlers and, school-age kids don't need so much, but then teenagers need a lot more again. And then you go into your 20s and that shifts again. And then you go into late, midlife and then there's another change. So we're constantly going through these ebbs and flows in our own individual needs for sleep. I'm obviously going through one right now. And everybody's different, even if they're in the same phase of life. So while I might need 8 hours, there are those unicorns that only need 6. And then finally, I want to acknowledge the challenge of maintaining a 5 a.m. routine in the face of work or family obligations. Say you have to travel and you're crossing time zones. that is really hard to get up early, or maybe it's, super easy depending on which direction you're going, or possibly, you have a sick kid in the middle of the night and you're up all night taking care of that sick kid, sacrificing your morning routine in the advantage of taking that extra hour of sleep just makes sense. So you have to look at your own individual circumstances and just choose what's best for you. The way I'm handling it right now is I do still have my alarm set to go off. I actually get up at 5:30. As long as I go to bed at the time I want to go to bed, I know at the moment I need at least 8 hours sleep. But because if I have lots of insomnia struggles throughout the night, I'll reset that alarm when it goes off. If somebody wakes me up in the middle of the night, a kid or a dog or a husband, I would reset that alarm when it goes off. If I wake up and I just feel like I can't today, I don't push myself to get out of bed just because I might be missing out on some of the benefits, because I do think it's a balancing act between the advantages of waking up early and the energy you have to go through your day, to face your day, to live your day. So let's discuss how to overcome some of the common challenges, and one of which is negative effects of sleep deprivation. And I think there's two things that you can do here. One, we've already talked about, and that is establishing a consistent bedtime and wake up routine. And two is practicing good sleep hygiene. So if I want to be in bed every night at 10 p.m., I need to start getting myself ready for bed around 9. So I have time to, get in my PJs, brush my teeth, wash my face, all that stuff, but also have time. I love to stretch before bed. I like to journal before bed. I love to read, just have some time to wind down and really have a practice around it, so that you're cueing your body to know that it's time for bed. And of course, sleeping in a cool room, making it dark, making it quiet, all of those things that you think of when you think of a good sleep environment. Okay, so let's just do a recap here. Some of the benefits of having a 5 a.m. routine is increased focus and concentration, more time for exercise, meditation and other self-care, and also increased productivity and achievement of goals. And some of the arguments against a 5 a.m. routine is the negative effects of sleep deprivation, considering your own differences and your needs for sleep, and just the challenges of getting up early on a regular basis. I encourage you to try it and see if it works for you, or if you are already, have a practice of waking up early and you feel like you don't have the energy to make it through your day, try making a change and giving your body more sleep, the sleep it needs to have the energy it needs during the day. I hope you have some more ideas on how to balance the benefits of sleep with the advantage of having more time for yourself in the morning. Just so you know, I also have a video about the afternoon slump, if that is your challenge, and I will see you over there. Make it a great day.